Amp or pedal distortion, which one do you prefer? Let's run through a little of everything to see which one you like, because there are complete radical differences between everything. So just because you have distortion from a pedal does not mean it's even made to sound like the distortion from an amp. It can be, but not always. Sometimes it's just a different thing. So let's test that theory out. First of all, my clean tone through bravado. Here's my clean. Then we have the Lagrange here.
Lagrange, you know what I'm talking about.
From Wagner. Love this particular type of pedal just for the type of distortion it's doing. Sounds very natural, very organic to me. So let's turn it on. I have it on the medium gain setting. So that's the Lagrange, which is one of my personal favorite pedals right now, dirt pedals anyways, that I'm just really loving, outside of Wampler, of course. Let's try an overdrive pedal. Most people are familiar with the tube screamer, so I'm going to go with that particular pedal for an overdrive on this video, just because you probably know what it sounds like. Through the clean amp, here we go. So that again is a very usable tone to me. It's not like an amp distortion at all, and some would argue that the tube screamer was not really even meant to be used in this sort of way with a clean amp. Maybe, maybe not. My personal feeling is it has its place in the tonal palette. So let's check out what happens whenever you take a non-master volume amp and crank it up. I use the bravado for this. The bravado is really kind of based around a combination between the deluxe reverb with a bit of a twin thrown in and some other EQ tricks that we've done. So basically it's kind of a blackface style palette. So we'll go from there. And here we go. Here's it cranked. So as you can probably tell, the characteristic of the clipping or the distortion is completely different than something like the tube screamer. Now, a lot of people like to use a drive, an overdrive, to drive this even further and kind of combine the two different types of clipping. So let's try that. I'm going to back the drive down just a little bit because when you're stacking dirt, you don't want too much gain. I know that sounds impossible, but it actually can create a lot of noise. So here we go. So that's a non-master volume style amp. We're just simply turning the amp up so much that it's driving the phase inverter section, the power tube section, even the transformer and speaker at that point. So there's yet another type of gain that we haven't looked at, and that's preamp gain. So when you have a master volume on an amp and a gain knob, that's basically you're taking all of those preamp stages and getting a lot more gain from all of them. And you can turn the master down so you're not driving the tail end quite as much, but you still get a different type of distortion when you do that. So now we're running through a Marshall DSL 100H. I'm on the ultra gain channel and I have the gain at about 9. So quite a bit of gain. The volume on the actual amp is not up that loud, so this is pretty much just preamp gain. Let's take a listen to how it sounds. Just feels really good under the hands. Again, a different tonality from the master volume, a different tonality from distortion pedals, because it's a different type of gain. Tubes do clip differently than pedals, even though a lot of times we're trying to kind of mimic that as we're creating distortion circuits. Still, at the end of the day, it's just a different thing. Let's try another distortion pedal. This is the Pathos from Abasi. And then one more, this is the Rat pedal. You're probably familiar with it. If you're not, you should be. But I would kind of almost call this more of a distortion-y fuzz. So there you go. A couple of different types of gain, whether it's from pedals like distortion or overdrive, whether it's from an amp that we're using the preamp and really kind of gaining up those 12AX7 tubes there, or whether we're using an amp and just turning it, a single channel amp, and turning it almost all the way up to really make that amp overdrive. Completely different tones. All of them are a distortion of a type, technically. They just all completely sound different. So hope this has been a little bit enlightening for you, that you can see that there's not one better type. There's multiple different types of tones, and each one is sort of like a tool in your toolbox. So sometimes you do want just a tube screamer type of tone. Sometimes you want to use that tube screamer on an amp that's already overdriven. And other times you just want a tone that sounds like a distortion pedal, something that sounds like that type of clipping structure. So hope this helped you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed, and we'll see you in the next video.